You are listening to the On Purpose Podcast. Welcome, everybody, to episode 187 of the On Purpose Podcast. I'm grateful to have you here with me again this week. It's an honor and a privilege to serve you and to show up with you. I want to say thanks to all of you who are joining us over on Patreon and whose financial contributions continue to help fund and build our purposeful community around the world. If you are interested in supporting the cause, contributing to our efforts to not only be a worldwide podcast, but to be one of the most impactful podcasts in the world, please join us at patreon.com/the On Purpose Podcast, where you get insider information, early episode releases, and more. So thank you for those of you that are joining us there. And if you're on the fence and you continue to listen, you're like, how can I help out? That is the best place to go. This week I have a special guest on who I'm excited for you guys to get to meet. I've not had anybody on here that's built or building a social platform like this person. She told me she had a history of negative self-worth and all its cousins, and that a breakfast out with a friend changed her life through listening, conversation, and now she's trying to pay it forward. So please join us, and I hope you enjoy the conversation with Sue Welch. Good morning, Sue, and welcome to the On Purpose Podcast. How are you doing today?
I am great. Good morning to you. Is it still morning? Yes, it's 11 o'clock my time. So yes, doing great.
Doing great. Yeah, it's a privilege to have you on and to share your story with our community, and I hope you're excited to be here.
Yes, I am. Thank you, because I love your message, living on purpose. And I love that message, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Oh, welcome. Let's, before we get into the sharing the story, you got a lot of stuff I want to share this week. The Chain Meat social platform, your new book, Chain Meat to Inspire Forward, is stuff I really want to talk to. But before we dive into that, I like for you to think of this as kind of like a morning workout. And we can't get to the heavy lifting without a good warm up. One, to get you firing on all cylinders, and two, to let our community know a little bit more about who Sue is.
Okay.
Are you ready for your warm up?
Yep. Let's
All
go.
right. Here we go. All right. This is one of my favorite questions ever. You are stranded on a deserted island for the rest of your life, and you get one food. What will Sue be eating?
My favorite food, pizza.
Oh,
Okay,
that's a
but
good
no,
one.
don't stop there though. It's a sausage, bacon, mushroom pizza with tomatoes and extra cheese with a side of chocolate. Is that okay?
What? Chocolate for your pizza?
No, but I've got to get that piece of chocolate in there. So I put the
I see. You're actually sneaking a dessert in with your meal.
next to the pizza. That's right.
Okay. Okay. Well, I like that you knew exactly what was going on that pizza. Sausage, bacon, mushroom.
Oh yeah, well, you got to get a little vegetable in there, right? I guess we had to, but in the tomatoes. But I'm a carnivore. Just give me meat and I'm happy.
Okay. Sue, if you could have one superpower, either like a current superhero or something you made up, what would your power be and why would you want it?
I'm going to go ahead and say the one that I wanted when I was a kid growing up. It seems kind of silly, but to be invisible. And the reason is, I don't even know why, because I felt invisible growing up anyway. But my thought about being invisible is that I can see people in their own element and know what's really going on with them. Because people don't admit things, but if I can see what they're really doing and feeling, and then I can use my desired real superpower of encouragement. So I would know what to say and how to encourage people on what they need.
Oh, very nice. That's a good one. What is your favorite book?
Well, when I think of books, I think of my fun book and then my workbook. So my fun book it's called The October List by Jeffrey Deaver.
Okay.
I love his writing. I try to figure him out and I can't. And he says he purposely does that, so you can't figure things out. But the October List is written from the last day, and it's written, it moves you backward in time. And I'm trying to figure it out, and it's kind of frustrating, but then you get toward the end and it's like your jaw drops. It worked. It really worked. It's fascinating.
Okay.
So you have to read it.
That's your fun book.
That was my fun book. My other favorite, and I know a lot of people have probably say this too, is Simon Sinek's Find Your Why.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And the reason is I just think that you got to know your why before you do anything. You have to understand what moves you. I wanted to understand my passion and what inspires me and what do I need as a person. And then as I understand that, then I can understand better other people and what I can do to apply my why.
I love it. Yeah, that's a great book and a great series of TED Talks that he does on that.
Yes. What is it? Do I hear that it's the most listened to TED Talk in history?
I believe so. Yeah. Good stuff.
There's a lot of wisdom in it.
For sure. All right. You get dinner with one person. Either that person can still be with us or may have passed. Who would you have dinner with and what would you ask them?
I can't wait to meet this guy. The Apostle Peter. Now, I'm a Christian, and yet I do struggle with lots of things that Peter did. Peter was one that he always had his foot in his mouth. He was impulsive. He would just speak without thinking. And I can identify with that. but then at the end, after Jesus' resurrection, they had a meeting, and Jesus kept asking Peter, do you love me? Well, then go and tend my sheep. Well, he kept asking, and Peter was grieved because he knew he blew it several times, but it would grieve him. And then they went for a walk. Well, Jesus says, follow me, but I think that had two messages: follow me and believe me, but it was also come with me. And the reason why I knew they were going for a walk is because John was following them. But I would love to meet Peter and ask him, what did you two talk about? You and Jesus, what did you talk about? What did he say to you? Because the next thing you know, Peter is confident and he's wise and he's well-spoken and influential. So what changed? And I want to know what that conversation was.
Oh, wow. That's pretty deep there. What would you guess? If you took a guess, what would have changed his demeanor like that?
My guess is that, Peter, you're forgiven. Now go, don't dwell on it. Don't dwell on the past, learn from the past, but don't dwell on it. Learn from it and move forward. Now fulfill the calling with which you have, and stop dwelling on what you did. That is already forgiven.
I love it. And I think that is a resounding message that more people in our world need to hear today.
Yeah. And it was a good message for me. I'm just going to assume that's what he said.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to do it that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's so many people. And I've done episodes on this in the past where we just talk about so many people carry the weight of past mistakes, past shortcomings with them forever. Like they never forgive themselves. They never allow themselves to be free again.
Yeah. And I know God allows these. They're in our lives for a purpose, not just to be a negative thing that happened. Learn from it. Right. Learn from it, grow from it, and then maybe you need to change your life a little bit to apply what you've learned. And that's, I do the same. I'm guilty. I still dwell on the past, but I'm better. And I realize that now, especially with chain meat, that my past did have a purpose. And that's kind of how Chain Meat came to be, because I'm learning from that. And I want to help other people who are in that situation and have those same struggles and feelings that I still struggle with.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, and something that I think there's twofold there, right? One, you have to be willing to forgive yourself, and two, you got to be willing to forgive others.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you're trying to move forward in your life and you're trying to move past shortcomings, mistakes, things you're not proud of, but your circle is unwilling to forgive or move forward, it's going to be a very hard task.
Right. They say that unforgiveness doesn't hurt the person you're not forgiving. It really hurts yourself. You're the one who's
Absolutely.
feeling it, not them.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. All right, how you feeling, Sue? Are you warmed up?
I am. I'm warm. Let's
Good.
get the weights on. Where's the barbells?
Yeah, that's right. Oh, now we're gonna get to the heavy lifting, the good stuff. So I am, like I said, I'm excited to get to this social platform because I think so much of our world nowadays revolves around social media and our reactions, responses to it. But before I get there, I want to know a little more about what led you to this purpose and this passion of creating a positive social platform. So can you start me off with something you said during your warm up about growing up invisible? Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
I just never felt like I had self-confidence. I had an older sister who was popular and she was smart, and I always felt like it was in her shadow. And this wasn't her fault, but I just never felt I measured up. I never knew what to say. I didn't know how to fit in. I strove and strove for a sense of belonging, but sometimes the striving ends up working against you. I come across, and I felt that I came across as needy and high maintenance. Well, nobody wants to be around that kind of person. And I realized I probably was that kind of person. And so, yeah, here I felt invisible, but then I wanted to be invisible only so
Yeah.
I could. I think back then I had some not very kind motives in my fantasy invisibility, but that was as a younger person who
Sure.
know better.
What do you think? What do you think led you to recognize this in yourself and to make changes?
I was told to get over myself, which I thought was very insulting, but I just knew deep down inside they were right. And I had done, all the self-help programs that everybody else does. And maybe we can talk, more about my problem is with the ubiquitous self-love
Yeah.
versions of self-help programs, because we do need to love ourselves, of course. The Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I just think that's not the focus. And I focused so much on myself. What good was it doing me until I was told to get over myself? And then it was just a simple breakfast date that changed my life. And my friend who treated me to breakfast, she gave me the perfect chain meat, which I didn't realize at the time. It probably took me a week or two to figure out that that's it. This is what a chain, and I had already had started chain meat, but it kind of had a different message. And then I realized this is the message of chain meat. And it's powerful what she did for me and the change that it wrought in me. And then realizing that I can do that for others and feel the reciprocity. In other words, if I make somebody else feel good like she did for me,
Yeah.
that makes me feel good. And I practiced, and it really worked. My whole outlook changed, even in myself.
So let's go to that breakfast. So talk me through. So you get just a text message or a phone call inviting you to breakfast, like unplanned, unexpected?
Yeah, she just called me up and say, "Hey, you want to meet for breakfast?" Sure. Well,
Right. And how
me,
long had you guys been friends?
a couple years.
Okay. So,
But we were acquaintances more than friends. But then we just kind of started hanging out in the same group. We were in our church home group together. And that's how I got to know her. And then she just invited me to breakfast. And I have to say, just that invitation made my day. She chose to call me and invite me out, and that made me feel good. So here already, I'm feeling good. Now, yeah, friends have said, hey, let's go get something to eat together or whatever. But we had not met before together one-on-one.
Uh-huh.
And when she invited me, that just made my day. Well, then we meet for breakfast. And then she says, oh, it's my treat. Well, yay. Okay, now I'm feeling better.
Because everybody likes to be treated, right?
Right. And, I know today that some people think they want to say no when someone wants to treat them because they feel obligated. And I want to stop that. I want people to say yes, because if I want to invite you out, I'm doing it because I want to, it's not under obligation. And we need to say yes more often.
Sure.
So I did. Glad I did.
So you're at breakfast, and what was the purpose of the meeting or the conversational topics?
It was just to get to know each other better. And what she did is for one thing, which made a big deal for me, is that she didn't even have her phone out. I never saw her phone. It was in her purse. She didn't look at it every 5 seconds to see who was calling or what the text messages were. She gave me her full, complete attention. And she would ask me, what's going on? And, just ask me what I was doing. And it's funny because I was telling her about chain meat, even though it was different. Here, didn't realize that she was teaching me about chain meat. But she was so focused on me. She listened to me. And don't we all want to be heard? We all want to be listened to. And she did. And she let me talk. She kept letting me talk. And she even appeared interested. And when I tried to focus back on her, I said, well, what about you, Gina? And she would answer my question, but then she would bring it back to me again. And by the end of our breakfast date, I felt like a transformed person. She validated me in what I was doing. I felt that it was okay what I was doing. And I told her how I felt like a poser, that I don't even know what I'm doing. And she said, yeah, I get that too, but she encouraged me. And by the time I left, man, I'm ready to go. She made me feel confident. And I had energy just coursing through me. It just literally changed me. And I felt confident to go for it. And I mean, it took me a week or two to figure out what she did.
Yeah.
But she just made me feel like the most important person in the room, like I was the best person, the only person in the room. Like I felt like $1 million. Yeah. And that changed me.
Let's talk about those feelings for a bit, right? Let's just, here's what I love about that story, Sue, is she didn't take you to a place where you couldn't afford the meal, right? Like a once in a lifetime at this exclusive restaurant, to where it was the thing that was so important.
Oh yeah, it was just like a couple eggs and sausage. Here I am.
Right. She didn't have life advice that changed your world, or knowledge that she possessed that you didn't, that would change the way you did everything. What I hear when you share that story is she just paid attention and listened.
Yes. And that's a big thing.
Asked questions. And listened to your answers and asked more questions. Like it's crazy, right? Like you think about this what you're telling me there, that changed your life and led you on to this business adventure and changing things to where you want to replicate this for people around the world, literally was skills that we all have.
We're so afraid that we don't know what to say. But what I learned is that I don't have to know what to say. If I just get this person talking, people love to talk about themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't have to come up with fancy advice or fancy conversation and worry. And I did before, but it was so easy. The lesson that she taught me, just listen. And if I don't know what to say next, just build on what they said. Now, what I used to do, and I realized that it's hurtful really, is that I would so focus on what am I going to say next?
For sure.
But if I kept focusing on that, then I'm not listening to her.
Right.
And I can't give an appropriate response if I'm not listening to her, because I'm so focused on what am I going to say next?
Yeah.
And doing it this way, one-on-one, is the key to a chain meet. It just makes it so easy.
Yeah. And see, here's what I love about it is anybody can do it. You don't have to be from a certain socioeconomic class or a status or anything other than that. You could literally walk down the street tomorrow and strike up a conversation with somebody and actually make it genuine, authentic conversation, which means you're listening.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's so simple. I think we make it too difficult, but it's for anybody, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. It's for anyone.
Right. And I think like you hit it on the head, Sue. Like too many times we go into conversations worried about saying the right thing. Do I have the right answer? Will I look like an idiot? Do I belong? Instead of just being in the moment and listening and learning.
Yeah. And that's what I learned about. I mean, of course, my husband's admonition to me to get over myself, that came back to me. And he was right. He was right that stop focusing on myself and loving myself and how I feel. That, like the way I talked about, is these self-love programs. It makes me focus so much on myself. I call it my little me box. I was so mired in my me box that I can't get out because I'm so focused on myself. But if myself is the problem, then myself can't be the solution. I need something outside of that. And when I learned that it was easy to get outside of me, myself, and I, and focus on someone else, it just changes your whole outlook.
And talk to me about that. How does focusing on someone else better you?
Think of, there's a quote that I love.
Yeah.
Be somebody who makes everybody feel like a somebody. And I build on that.
So give that to me again. So I want to make sure the community hears this quote that you just told us.
And I don't know who said it. I've looked, but I don't know who said it. But it's be somebody who makes everybody feel like a somebody. I build on that when you make somebody feel encouraged and confident and heard and validated and all those good things, when you make that person feel like a somebody, what happens without you realizing is this, what I call the power of reciprocity. You end up feeling all those same things too. So in other words, when you make somebody feel like a somebody, you feel like a somebody too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. It's the energy. It's the way the universe works. Right. I can't be at my best if I'm trying to hold everybody else down. I will never be the best version of myself if I don't help others be the best version of themselves.
Right. And the more you love others, that's an organic way of the growth that you will experience in loving yourself. Now, those self-love therapies and programs and I love you mantras, it's me telling myself that. But that can only go so far. It's when you reach out to others and then you feel those the reciprocity feelings that come back onto you. That's organic. It's self-love that's real, and I would say deserved. Not that we don't deserve it, but it's real. It's organic instead of forced by my looking in the mirror and telling me, I love you, Sue. No, it's real.
You know why? Here's my thoughts on this. here's the difference in that is standing in the mirror telling myself I am beautiful, I am enough, I am all this. It's just like you said, it's me talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
But when I go out into the world, and just like you said, you help somebody else realize how important they are, it's no longer about you.
Right.
And the universe reciprocates by
Yes.
helping others see that in you and helping you start seeing that in you for real, right? I guess it's real. It's not me just standing there talking to myself. I'm actually putting into practice what I believe.
Yes. And that's what your podcast is about, living on purpose. And I believe we were all created on purpose, and we were created with a purpose. And one of our purposes is I am to be me for others. I can't be anybody else. But what I like about Chain Meat, it makes it easy for me to be me for others.
Yeah. So before we get into the actual technical aspect of Chain Meat, this is the 4th try you've said. Prior to coming on air, we were talking a little bit, and you said this is like the 4th time you've launched a website and had to make modifications and stuff. So share with us, and then we'll go into what it actually is and how we work it. How did you know to stay the course? How did you know to not give up after the 1st or the 2nd or even the 3rd time?
It actually started, I know it may sound silly to people, but it actually started with a dream. I have a very vivid dream life, and I learn things in my dream. I used to be an aerobics instructor, and I could not for the life of me figure out how to teach it right so people could follow along, especially with the Reebok step aerobics way back in the day. That was a long time ago.
Oh, Reebok step. You are going back a little bit.
Okay,
Hey,
we're
I'm
not
with you. I know about it.
say how many decades ago that was, but in my dream, I learned how to teach.
Love it.
When I woke up, I knew how to teach step aerobics. It was the same thing with Chain Meat. I had a dream, and in the dream, the website was laid out. I had to have the word chain in there, and like I said, I'm a Christian, and God gave me a verse for it that Chain Meat is based on. It's Proverb 27:17, and we all know it. Iron sharpens iron, so one friend sharpens another. But in the beginning, I took that to be, let's get back to the real, not to get rid of the virtual, but our lives are so virtual now with digital devices, our cell phones, texting, social media, alternate reality, virtual reality. We're living such virtual lives now. We're kind of going away, further and further away from the real thing. And I wanted to get back to the real, get back to meeting one-on-one, in person, face-to-face. So that's how it started. And nothing wrong with the designers that I had, because it's what I gave them. And I wasn't even sure of Chain Meat until, it's been about a year now, that I just know this is the message of reaching out to others instead of focusing on self.
Yeah.
And the Chain Meat is meeting a friend. Now I focus on friends that you already have. I don't even want to deal with the stress of meeting new friends and trying to make a good first impression. So I focus on a friend that you already have one-on-one, just like Gina did for me. We met one-on-one because that's when you can give the person your most attention, and you can get more intimate with each other, go a little bit deeper with each other, and encourage your friend even more when it's this way, focusing on your friend versus everybody else around you, like in a party, which I love parties.
Sure.
But there are zillions of websites out there to meet people, to connect with bunches of people, and that's fine. That has its place, but this focus is a little bit more intimate with one-on-ones. And it was about a year ago that I finally got that message clear, but it was recently that the website is now reflecting that. So like I said, it's still a new site, so we're still working on that. And
so I love on the homepage, just snooping around, it says meet, treat, eat, and repeat.
That's the
Right.
4 steps of a chain meet.
I love it, right? I mean, that sounds like a great friendship right there, right? Like you meet, you treat, you eat, and you repeat. What
Mhm.
is what is your ultimate goal with the Chain Meet social platform?
To I want people to meet face to face, and we cannot get rid of the digital age. We're in it, but I want to work with social media instead of social media being by itself. So you have the real life experience of meeting together, and then the social media platform is where users can register, and they have their own news feed, and they can share their chain meet or post. It's posting your chain meet. So it's kind of like the frosting on the cake where you're posting your appreciation for your friend. Well, if that were me, if I were the friend, I'd feel honored that you claim me as your friend. That would make me feel good. And it honors me that you are publicly demonstrating your appreciation for me when you post it. And it also, there's the intention with the chain meet that, well, Jerrod, what are a couple friends' names? What are a couple friends that you have?
Oh
Name me
gosh, what's
friends.
that?
Just give me 2 names,
Oh, let's go. Two names. We'll go Cole and Matt.
Cole and Matt. Okay, so the purpose of a chain meet is that you treat Cole out. You give Cole your attention. You treat him to coffee, a beer, pizza, whatever. The nice thing is that you choose what you want to do, how much money you want to spend. I mean, a cup of coffee is cheap. Anybody
Yep.
can do that. You treat Cole like $1,000,000. And then you tell Cole, this is what you're going to do on Chain Meet. You're going to post it. Let him see that what you're doing. But the intention is to create a ripple effect. And that's where the word chain comes in, is that now, Cole, I want you to reach out to someone and do the same thing we did. So Cole will go and reach out to Matt. And now he's going to do likewise with Matt. Invite him to a pizza and do the whole honor him and listen to him, encourage, laugh together, just be real. And Matt, this is what we're doing. We're going to do a chain meet. Let's take a picture of the two of you. We're going to post it on Chain Meet. Now, Matt, I want you to go and again and do likewise. So to create a ripple effect of what I call inspiring forward.
Yep.
And then you can look on your news feed and you can see, hey, cool, Cole did a chain meet. He did it with Matt. Oh, cool, Matt is doing a chain meet with Tom. And look, Tom just did a chain meet with Steve, and so on. So you get to see the impact that you're
Oh,
making.
I love it. Yes.
So it's like,
You could follow the chain.
yeah. And then maybe another day, you take Mike out and start another chain. Mike, this is what we're doing. I encourage you, go do likewise. Go do a chain meet with another friend. So now you have another chain going. So it's what we all want to change the world, right? That's our
Yeah.
secret desire. We want to make our mark in the world. Well, you can see your mark. You can see the impact that you've caused by your first
Oh,
lunch
very
date
nice.
with your friend. And then other people will be able to see it, encourage them to start their own chains and to just inspire forward, like the book is called. When you inspire forward, you ultimately inspire within.
Yes. What's been the biggest hurdle you've overcome in bringing this vivid dream to your now reality?
There's a hurdle in getting people to perform an action. It's easy to donate to a cause. It's easy to download a book or download a PDF. Those things are easy because they're just instantaneous. But I am calling people to give their time and even a couple bucks for a friend. And sometimes we're very cautious in what we do with our time. Yes, it takes time. You may be gone for a half an hour, an hour. My breakfast date with Gina ended up to be a couple hours, but you're giving up your time. And it's hard. That is a hurdle. People have to give up that time. The other thing, again, to give up is the obligation to feel that you have to reciprocate. Well, yeah, I want you to reciprocate, but with chain meat, I want you to reciprocate with another friend and treat another friend. So that's a hurdle. Plus now I have the hurdle of and it's not a big hurdle, but the website, there are always bugs on a website. I get a lot of spam signups. I was so excited when I got all these signups and then realized they were spam. But it's new, and I understand, those things happen. So we're working on the site.
So help me. So for chain meat, talk me through this a little bit, Sue. Right now, I think we're at a stage. At least I am, and I think a lot of people that go in my circle are where people are starting to tune out social media, right? Like they're just not believing a lot of information is factual. It's too much negativity, so they're not going there. How do we overcome that and get them to go to chain meat and not feel like it's just another social media place to spend time?
That's a good question. Yes, I think I need to figure out how better to spread the word that if you want to feel better about yourself, this is what you do. I challenge you, take 1 hour of your time. You absolutely have nothing to lose by it.
Yeah.
Really, there is nothing to lose by honoring a friend, and then take note of how you will feel. And then you don't have to spend boatloads of money on all these other self-help programs that cost thousands of dollars. But yes, that is the hurdle in getting people to act.
Oh man, I love it. But I love what you're doing with it. And I love the fact that people can view the chains so that we can see, because I think that's a key there, Sue, is a lot of times we won't take action to make change in the world because we think it's insignificant, right? We won't do that small thing because we think it doesn't matter. But what I love about what you've done here is you've given me a visual image where I can follow my chain. So my lunch with Cole led to Cole's lunch with Matt, Matt's dinner with Tim, and Tim's dinner with Justin, and Justin's dinner with somebody that I'd never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
But now I can see. Absolutely. So now I can see. And I think that is the beauty of what you're doing is now I can actually see visually my little ripple creating more ripples.
Yes. And that's the beauty of it. You get to see and know that you're making a difference, and imagine how that will change you on the inside, knowing that, wow, I am relevant in this world, and I am significant, and I can make a difference. And it's a difference for positivity.
Yeah. And it's like you said earlier, it's a difference that we can all make. It doesn't require anything more than us just choosing to do it.
Right. But it's a hard thing. We have to be courageous sometimes to get over ourselves.
Gosh, isn't that the truth? We got to get over ourselves to help others. We got to get over ourselves to become our true best self. Why in the heck do we spend so much time being our own worst enemies?
Yeah. I mean, I can keep telling myself I love myself, but that works in the beginning because there's the hype with it. Give yourself a high five, hug yourself, and touch yourself in the mirror, but it doesn't last.
No. And that's why you're talking my language. And I've had this discussion with many people. I don't buy into a lot of the self-help gurus. I don't play their programs. I don't like their messaging. And I think you and I are in agreement here that there's a reason there's 10 books by the same self-help guru that you're supposed to follow in order, is because it doesn't actually work and it keeps you in the cycle.
Mm-hmm. That's why I was stuck in my me box, and I had to make the great escape out of my me box. And again, that's why I love your podcast. Your podcast is about purpose. Well, that is my purpose in life. And I love to encourage others because I know what it means for me, and I know what it feels like, the power of it. And I feel that is my purpose in life. I just want to encourage and have people become new again, and get out of that bondage of me, myself, and I, and to feel better about themselves, to feel confident to do their thing.
Yeah, but I 100% agree. And I think, like you said, sometimes you got to be told the truth to get over yourselves. You got to be told some feedback that maybe you don't want to hear, instead of just the superficial conversation where everybody just tells you exactly what you want to hear because they're afraid to go deep, or they're afraid to actually listen, or they're not even really interested in listening. They're more interested in what I call the conversational ping pong. I just want to hear what you have to say and fire back as fast as I can. So you could say, and then I fire back as fast. And it's like the cat watching, the ping pong ball, where his head just goes back and forth, boom, boom. There's no listening there. It's a volley. It's a volley of words. And what I like, what you're telling people is slow down and listen, and don't have all the answers, and don't be perfect. Just be there.
Yeah. Dale Carnegie said, I had lunch with someone and I heard him tell someone else that I was a great conversationalist, but all I did was listen. I just let him talk about himself. And I just thought, yep, he's got it. I heard somewhere that, I don't know the saying, the quote, but when you tell people what they want to hear, that's not loving them. Loving them is telling them the truth. And the truth is, loving yourself is telling people what you think they want to hear. And I am a big believer in truth. And that's why it was so insulting to me in the beginning to hear that, because deep down I knew it was true.
Yeah.
But I had to face that, not be mad at him forever. I needed to face that truth and grow from that. And
yeah, fantastic. And I love that you say, looking into your book and stuff, and it's a follow-up for the Chain Meat social platform, is that you're not an expert, and you're an expert student, meaning you're a practitioner and a learner, and that you're just sharing that advice there, instead of coming from a platform of where you're the expert, just follow exactly what I say. You're actually telling people, hey, like, Chain Meat to Inspire Forward is my book, and I'm an expert student just sharing this story with you.
And I want to challenge people, go try it for yourself. You have nothing to lose except for maybe a couple bucks, but just, you're going to have fun with your friend anyway. Just try this.
Sure.
Be purposeful in focusing on your friend. Just give it a try and see how you feel. See how it makes you feel.
Yeah. Now, not only are you being courageous and creating a social platform and challenging people that way, you've also just recently released your first book.
It was published, not even a month ago. And it's kind of exciting. It's just exciting.
Yeah. What was it like to sit down and put all this on paper? What was your feeling? What was it like as you thought, oh my gosh, I'm actually writing a book?
I was told to, come up with the talking points and each of the features of Chain Meat. And the features are generally that this event is transformational. Well, there's a chapter. It's focused on the friends you already have versus meeting new people, stressing out in that. So each feature of Chain Meat, one-on-one, face-to-face, friends you already have, in person, honoring them, the principle of reciprocity, and then posting it and sharing it to encourage others to do the same. So I just split it up into those topics and it just came together. I was going to say something. It reminded me of your book. Now you have a book.
I do.
And I just think it's interesting. Yours is Extraordinary People in Ordinary Places. And my book is similar. It's helping ordinary people become extraordinary positive influencers.
I love it.
I love the way our books are. They kind of go, they're cousins.
Yeah.
And your story, now that's kind of what I would like to do in the future, maybe for a second book, is book is about different stories with
Yeah.
different people. And I love that because, again, that's the best book to read. They're real. And what worked for you could work for somebody else.
Sure.
And I'm hoping one day that I will get some stories and testimonials of chain meets, kind of like my story. And I would like to have a second book of those stories because I just think those are powerful.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, well, I appreciate the feedback on the book, and yeah, it's very humbling to create something that takes on its own life, and that's what writing books does, or does, or a social platform like you've created is now it creates its own life and creates its own impact, and you really never know where it's going to go, but it can't go anywhere if you don't have the courage to step forward and create it and put it out there.
Yes, without thinking that I have to be the expert and spouting off statistics here and this statistic over here, and I can't do that, so don't ask me any.
I
I mean, I've
know.
got some ideas, but I haven't gotten those memorized.
I
and,
love it.
and who wants to hear them anyway?
Well, I tell you what, no statistic or data point I've ever been taught has changed my life, but stories and people investing in me certainly has.
Mm-hmm.
So Chain Meet social platform, is there a cost for people to sign up for? Is it free? How does that work?
It's free. I don't ever want to charge for that. I want it to be a user generated site. This site is going to be yours and everybody who posts. It's your site. I want it to be for anyone and everyone. So it's affordable.
Yeah.
It's free. I want the only money that you put out is what you choose to do, whether it's coffee or a steak dinner to celebrate something. So I want it to be for anybody and everybody.
Okay. And what about your book for folks that want to learn more about this and to get some real life help and advice on just up leveling and inspiring forward to inspire within? Where can we go to get your book, Sue, and how can we best stay in touch with you?
My email is sue@chainmeet.com. And of course, you can always go to the site. My book, Chain Meet to Inspire Forward, is on Amazon, both in the Kindle version and paperback version for now. And
social media wise?
Oh, yeah. Social media. I'm an old person. It's not even in the front of my mind, but yes.
No, it's good.
Yes, we do have a page, Chain Meet, on Facebook. On Instagram, it's Chain Meet Life.
Okay.
And then I'm also on LinkedIn, Sue Welch on LinkedIn.
Awesome. And if so at the end of this show, we have a couple people somewhere around the world that are maybe still like, gosh, I just can't, I'm struggling to get going towards my dream. What couple short pieces of advice, Sue, would you give them to help get them into action?
Find your why, your passion. What does your heart want? And what is something that you feel you can give to others? It can be different things. Yours is teaching about living on purpose, being purposeful. And that helps others. That is your passion. Where does your heart come from? I mean, there's so many things it could be.
That's great.
But I just think that's what's neat about each of us is we have our individual likes and dislikes and passions and where our hearts are. And that's what makes the world go round, that we're all different, even when we're all the same.
I love it. Sue, it was an honor to have you on the show this week. And I wish you the best of luck with Chain Meet and the book and everything you got going on. And thank you again for allowing us to share your story with our On Purpose community.
Well, thank you for having me, and go do a chain meet on purpose.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. I appreciate it, Jerrod.
And remember, team, life is far too short to live any other way than on purpose. We will see you all again next week.